We learn in school that life probably began in the ocean some 3.5 billion years ago. Even today, with all its advances and technologies, our modern world still depends on the seas that cover 2/3 of our planet. And yet, as Alexandra reports, humans are doing things that put these vast and vital waters at risk.
The world's oceans are huge, and so is the challenge to protect them from threats like climate change, overfishing, and pollution. But as the organization called Oceana explains, big changes can come from small improvements. They call it the ripple effect.
When Oceana fights destructive fishing practices and pollution, the ripple effect means we are protecting and restoring critical habitats to ensure abundant oceans. And we can ensure local catch feeds local communities. Your ripple effect is helping to restore our oceans, fight the climate crisis, and feed the world.
To find out how we can be a part of the ripple effect to help restore our oceans, we're joined by Alex Ains. She's a marine scientist with Oceana. What exactly does a marine scientist do?
A marine scientist can do many things. Some scientists are out in the field on the water, some are in a lab, and some are advocating for stronger laws to protect marine life. I specifically work to ensure that fish, sharks, and whales are as protected as they can be in the United States.
That sounds really interesting. What attracted you to this career?
I grew up with my dad going scuba diving, and I begged him to let me try it when I was old enough to get certified. And once I did, underwater instantly became my happy place. I couldn't wait to work to better understand and protect the marine life that I admired while scuba diving.
Besides being home to countless forms of marine life, why are the oceans essential to our existence?
The oceans cover more than 70% of the world, and they are as important to us as they are vast. Our oceans are home to most of the life on our planet and play a central role in the world's natural systems, like helping produce oxygen. The oceans provide livelihoods to countless fishers and others around the world. They also feed hundreds of millions of people and have the capacity to provide a healthy seafood meal to 1 billion people every single day.
Wow! All right, so let's go through some of the biggest threats the oceans face today. How serious a concern is overfishing?
Well, fish are vital to the food web, and we cannot take them out of the water faster than they can reproduce. Overfishing is one of the top threats to the oceans. It is rapidly depleting many of the world's fish populations. We rely on fish for food, for jobs, yet half of our fisheries around the world are overfished, and another 40% are fished to maximum levels.
What can be done to prevent overfishing?
Fisheries need to be responsibly managed, and governments need to implement science-based limits on the amount of fish allowed to be caught and ensure these measures are properly enforced. Overfishing is a big problem, but we do know how to fix it. We know that when fisheries are properly managed, the fish do come back.
Okay, so next is something we hear a lot about, climate change. How is that hurting the oceans?
Climate change is drastically harming and changing the ocean as we know it. Globally, the oceans have absorbed 90% of the extra heat in our atmosphere, causing warming ocean temperatures, raising sea levels, melting sea ice, and much more. Science has shown that because of changes in temperature, fish are moving north and south away from the equator in search of colder water.
What is Oceana doing to fight climate change?
Oceana is campaigning to stop expanded offshore oil drilling, which is a dirty and dangerous business that is polluting our oceans and accelerating the climate crisis. Science tells us that stopping the expansion of offshore drilling has the potential to reduce greenhouse gas emissions more than any other ocean-based solution. Oceana is also combating climate change by promoting responsibly sourced offshore wind, rebuilding fisheries as a climate-friendly source of protein, and reducing the use of unnecessary single-use plastics that contribute to climate change.
And that leads us to habitat destruction. Tell us about that.
So as I mentioned earlier, the oceans cover more than 70% of the planet, yet only about 8% of them are currently protected. This leaves many critical habitats at risk of destruction from threats like pollution, overfishing, or destructive fishing methods. Protecting ocean habitat is key to restoring fisheries abundance, protecting livelihoods, and combating the worst impacts of the climate crisis. Oceana campaigns for habitat protections in important marine places all around the world, and with our allies, we have protected nearly 4 million square miles of ocean habitat.
As you mentioned earlier, another major problem is plastic. Why is it so harmful?
Well, plastic is everywhere. From the deepest point in the ocean to the highest mountains in the world, it's in the air we breathe, the water we drink, and the food we eat. Our oceans are absolutely choking on it. The equivalent of 2 garbage trucks full of plastic enter the oceans every single minute. The results are completely devastating for the marine ecosystems and animals, like sea turtles, which often mistake the plastic for food because it looks like jellyfish, which is what they eat. And we must reduce the production and use of single-use plastics to protect our marine environment.
And we'll take a deeper dive into plastic pollution and the surprising steps Oceana recommends to reduce it in an upcoming report. Thanks for taking time to talk with us. By the way, Alex, I like your name.
And I love yours.
She clearly has good taste. You don't have to be a marine scientist like Alex to help save our oceans. To find out how you can get involved, check out Oceana's website, oceana.org. For Teen Kids News, I'm Alex. Andra.